Hello guys, this is my promised review of Death Note Part 2, The Last Name. I promised to do this about a couple months ago, and with that out of the way, let's get on to this video. First we start with the characters. Now, Misa Mana is one of the most accurate characters, but she's less annoying in this movie. Honestly, I'm okay with the brown hair, it works for this movie. Moving on to Ren. The CGI for Rem looks pretty decent and I kinda like it. It reminds me of Tails from Sonic, just the way they use her. I'm okay with her voices in both Japanese and English sounding more male-ish, but I'm fine with that. I like how she was still accurate to her character, especially the fact that she'll do anything to protect Misa. They did that part of her justice. I also like the part where she tells Light that he wouldn't get her death note if she died, and then she tells Misa to be happy, that despite her being dead, even if Light dies, Misa will still live. Kiyomi is still the same as she is, of how she's loyal to Kira and all. The difference is that she's already graduated from college and now is working at the TV station on Sakura TV already. Of course they use her to replace Higuchi because they wanted to make this a little bit shorter, despite the movie being 2 hours and 20 minutes. I guess that they just wanted to make that shorter so they can have the alternative ending later on. With that out of the way, let's talk about the storyline and how much it deviated and how much did it stay accurate. This movie picks up right where we left off with Light visiting his girlfriend's funeral after what happened in the first movie. After that, Light is escorted to L's headquarters, which makes the movie a little different to the other film, like Light having a different style of hair. And during this scene, we get something that fans have always wanted, a goddamn chess scene. Of course, they try and focus more on what's going on so far with Naomi and all about how L still suspects him. Of course, Light refuses the Shinigami ideal, but of course, Light still wins the chess game. I love the scene where it picks up right where we left off with Misa finding the new Death Note, and especially seeing Rem, which gives me some Sonic 2 vibes. After that, Misa sends her tapes like she does in the anime. The difference is that it's in daytime, and that Sayu is there. I like this because Sayu is a little bit more of a bigger role before the time skip happens. And I do just like seeing Light feeling concerned about Sayu. And I just love how L falls out of his chair like in the anime. The only downside that I have with it is that he doesn't scream like he does, but that's okay. I'm completely fine with what they changed in this scene. And then I find it really clever that they have Misa conveniently in the same store as Light when Light starts to talk with Sayu, and then Misa sees Light's name but without the lifespan. This was done to save up time for what's going to happen later, but I just love how they adapt episode 11, 12 and 13 side by side. Misa later on meets Light and Light finally sees Rem. We get an accurate scene of Light interrogating Misa, which is well done honestly. They did a good job of recreating that scene, especially with the English voice actors voicing them. Of course, they do Rem justice here, just like they do in the anime, making it a little more dramatic than it was with Rem. Although it's later implied that Misa did touch Light's notebook and saw Ryu, which means it happened off screen. And unlike the anime, we actually see a flashback of Misa's backstory before the Death Note. Cutting to episode 15, L talks to Light about how the two Kiras have now made contact, so he starts to wear a mask. After that, Light now runs to Misa. We get this cool scene of Misa looking at L's face after pulling his mask off using her Shinigami eyes. Just now, Misa's fan base starts surrounding her, which gives L an advantage and steals her phone by sexually assaulting her in the process. I like the music that they play in here. L illegally and unconsentingly tortures and interrogates Misa. The small difference I noticed is that Misa did not have a blindfold until someone went into the room. Rem seeks out Light and tells him about Jealous, the Shinigami that saved Misa. Light comes up with a plan. The only difference is that he doesn't swap the books around with Rem and Ryuk. He still buries his Death Note under the ground when Rem gets to keep Misa's Death Note and pass it on to Kiyomi instead of Higuchi. And I think if they went for the Higuchi arc, then they would have had to end with L dying. Misa loses her memories, which means she also loses her Shinigami eyes. Light volunteers to stay on watch for about a couple days or so, like 13 days, and then he loses memories, and then L puts him on the team, The scene where Light was bashing Elle was completely removed, but I'm okay with that. I do like that scene where he says, what's a likability that I could be Kira, and then Elle just lies saying that it's not that. Hi. Kiyomi gets a death note and becomes the third Kira instead of Higuchi, and she's more loyal to Kira, which means that Higuchi doesn't kill whoever criminal he wants. She's killed more criminals than Light has per day. Of course, she doesn't take criticism that well from her boss that dies in a car crash. Possibly she could have written her name in, an accidental death happened, thus taking her place as the main anchor of Sakura TV. I like how Light is being nice to Misa without pretending or faking it or being manipulative. That was a nice scene. I forgive that they cut out the fight with Light now. We get this scene of Light saying, what is the possibility of me being Kira? And then Elle lies, saying it's very low. They start suspecting the new anchor for Sakura TV, so they put cameras in her room, and they find out that she's Kira. They create a plan for her to give them the death notes. However, she makes a Shinigami ideal, and then they catch her, and then Light gets his memories back, and then Light kills Kiyomi. Now the FBI agents know about the Shinigami and the Death Notes. However, a small detail is that Kiyomi's name is changed from Kiyomi Takada to Kiyomi Dakata. The investigators start investigating the Death Note and asking Rem questions. However, Light brushes off that there are plenty of Death Notes out there in Japan because the murders have started happening again. Well, that's because Light tells Misa, go to the forest where the Death Note is buried. Well, his Death Note. She gets her memories back, and despite Ryuk being kind to her and telling her not to make the deal, she goes ahead and makes a deal, shortening her lifespan further. This makes Rem want to kill Elle, and this extends Misa's lifespan. The difference here is that all the investigators have left the room, which means that Light and Elle are on their own, and which means that Light does not pick up Elle's body when Elle falls to the ground when he dies. Another difference is that Rem's notebook burns to ashes and blue fire. Now, honestly, I don't like when Light writes his father's name in the Death Note. Of course, it turns out that it was fake and all, but of course I could consider Ryuk would have just told Light about the Death Eraser, and then that would have happened. Suichiro has an empty suitcase and shows Light that the Death Note that he has is actually pretty fake. Turns out Elle has got both Death Notes, and he claims that he read his name in before Rem did, which cancels out Rem's kill. Elle's name is revealed to be Elle Loliot, and he tells Light you're nothing but a crazy murderer. Matsuda shoots off Light's watch, and then one of the cops shoots his leg. Light, completely vulnerable, tells Ryuk to murder all the agents that surround him. Ryuk applies to it, and instead writes Light's name, betraying him. He says, I respect you. It was good while it lasted, but I think I'm done right now. I better do the right thing. Of course, Light dies, and it's pretty sad because all ever Light wanted was real justice, and then he says, you can't let me die as some damn criminal, because otherwise all he's been doing was kinda pointless, and then he dies sadly. Elle dies a couple days later and mourns about Wataru's death. Wataru's actually a good character in this movie too. They did justice to him as well, good casting and all, just like the Netflix film. I just love how Light and Elle both die in the same arc's conclusion. Then that wraps up the movie. This movie gets an 8.8 out of 10. I really like the visual effects, storyline, characters, and English dubbing. And as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. And I am so sorry for not posting last week. I just wanted to take a 1 week break, that's all. Thank you guys.